Today I'm going to show you how to make these really cute egg cup pincushions. They're so easy to make brilliant gifts for your sewing friends, and also really great to sell at craft fairs. So here's what you need. First you'll need an egg cup. I really recommend these egg cups from Ikea. They're very cute, a lovely design and so affordable at only £1.50 for a pack of 2. And that makes them really great for if you want to sell these pincushions at craft fairs. You need fabric scraps, small pieces just big enough to cut about a 4-inch circle out of them. You need a needle and thread. I recommend an embroidery needle and some really strong thread, so nothing fine. So I've got 12 weight thread here and this is perfect for the job. Some stuffing. I recommend just polyester fibre filled type stuffing, but you could use walnut shells or something like that. I don't want to use anything containing nuts because I'm going to have my pincushions here in the studio for people to use when they come for a workshop. And as well as scissors, I also recommend you buy one of these glue guns. This is going to make the process much easier. This was really inexpensive. It was about £5 when I got it. I'll leave a link to it below and then you can see what sort of glue gun it is, and then you can buy one in your country. So first you need to cut about a 4-inch circle out of your fabric. Now my cappuccino cup happens to be exactly the right size. So with a heat erasable pen, or you could use an air erasable pen, I'm just going to draw around the coffee cup and then cut it out. But I'll leave a link below to a free circle template just in case you haven't got anything the right size at home. Then you can print that off on your computer, cut it out and use that to draw around. Next, thread your needle with your really strong thread and put a knot in the end, and then all you need to do is a running stitch about 1/4 inch from the edge. Just keep your stitches quite close together as you do it. That will give a nicer, tighter gather. Now when I get back to the beginning, I still have my needle threaded at the end, but I just set it aside and I want to pull the end with the knot on and my other one to start to gather it up into a circle, not too tight. And once it gets to this kind of shape, now it's time to stuff it with the polyfill. Now the key to stuffing anything is to do it in little bits, not big bits. That will give you a fuller shape and also will mean that it's a nicer shape as well. As you do it, you can pull it up a bit and just have a look at the shape you're getting on the other side. I can see I need to fill out this side, so just grab a bit more, put it in, keep working like this, little bits at a time. I want it to be nice and fully stuffed, but I want to make sure we've got a really nice shape as well. So I can see mine just needs a little bit more, so I can just push it around inside. Let me just take a little bit more. Put that in. Pull it really tight and have a look. That looks good. Test it with the pincushion just to see if it's full enough. That's going to sit in really nicely and will be just the right size, I think. So now we need to fasten this part off. So I'm just going to pull them really tight and tie it into a knot. As tight as I can. Obviously you need to be careful that I don't snap anything. That's why we use a strong thread for this. Okay, and then snip the excess and then twist it out again. So So now I need to plug in the glue gun and just wait for a few minutes for that to heat up. Once the glue is ready, what I do is I put lots of glue in the very bottom and then all around the edge, leaving about 1/2 inch free, and that should be enough. You have to do it really quick because the glue dries very fast and then you can't stick to it anymore. Put plenty in all around like that, and then push the pincushion right in and just hold it in while the glue sets. Only takes a few seconds, and that's it. It's in. Now this one didn't puff up very much compared to the other one I did, which was more puffy, but you can decide whether you want them more flush or you want them puffy. And next I'm going to show you another way in which you can make these pincushions, another idea to make them even more special. So before we carry on, I'd just like to take a minute to thank the sponsor of today's video, and that is Serious Readers. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the weather and the light at this time of year to be quite tricky. It's that transitional weather, isn't it, as we are moving into autumn. So 1 minute the sun is beaming through the windows and I'm having to close the blinds, and then the next minute it's grey. The clouds have come, the rain started, and I can't see what I'm doing, and that's why I'm really grateful to have my high definition Serious light here in the studio. There are lots of reasons why I absolutely love my high definition light. I've been using Serious lights now for well over 2.5 years, and honestly they make such a big difference. The one I have in the studio is the high definition cordless model, and it is the tabletop model, so I can charge it up and then I can move it around to wherever I want it to be in the studio. And what I really love as well about it is the daylight wavelength technology, and what that does is replicate the daylight spectrum as closely as technically possible, and it just creates this really nice natural feeling light. It's very relaxing on the eyes, it helps to reduce eye strain, and when you're working with such fine detail, tiny stitches, it really does help to illuminate your workspace. And if you can do that with a natural feeling light, it makes such a difference. If you'd like to find out more about the Serious Lights range, then I've left a link in the description box below, and if you were to purchase a high definition light, then you can use my offer code, which is Emma24, and that will give you £100 off a high definition light and also free delivery. So thank you so much to Serious Readers for sponsoring today's video. So next I've chosen 7 Liberty scraps, just little pieces, and I've got 7 1/4 inch hexagons. Now, yes, this is tiny, but we're only making a hexagon flower, so it will be worth the fiddliness because it's going to look so cute on the top of the pincushion. So what's really nice about the Liberty fabric and why I often choose it is because it's so detailed, and you can even, that little flower there, I have centralised it on my 1/4 inch hexagon, which means it just looks so sweet. Now, usually use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you can't do that when you are working with such tiny shapes. And the second reason why I think the Liberty Tana Lawn works so well for this is because it's thin, it's strong, but it's very fine, so you don't get a lot of bulk on the back, which means it's great for tiny pieces. So my seam allowance just looks proportionate to the size of the shape, really. It's probably about 1/8 of an inch. And then just a dab of glue and fold it over. Just like so. And then the final side, I'm just doing it gently so I don't distort the hexagon, the hexiform hexagon. And there is the tiny hexagon. So I'm just going to make 6 more of those from different pieces of fabric, and then I'll show you how to stitch them together and how to attach them to your pincushion. Okay, so now that's done, I've got my 7 hexagons and I just want to arrange them now. I have to zoom in because they're so small you won't be able to see. So I fussy cut them all really. Yeah, this one was on a berry and it didn't turn out too clear, but I just want to arrange them. I love the little rosebud on that one. So we just need to arrange them in a way that looks nice. To be honest, I think in any way will look nice with this, but I'll put that one there, I think. I'll put that one there, and now we're ready to stitch them together. So when you're sewing such tiny pieces together, having a small needle and fine thread is crucial really for a really nice result. So I'm using my milliner's needles in size 10 Big Eye. Big Eye just makes it easier to thread, but I am going to use a needle threader for that anyway. And I'm using Wonderfill Deco Barb just in a white shade, but Invisifill is even finer and would be great for this job too. If you struggle to thread such fine needles, I really recommend the Clover needle threaders. So it's really simple. This is the newest one. You just pop the needle in there, and then you take your thread and you hold it across the gap, and you hold it with your finger and thumb like so, and then just press and it threads really simply, just like that. So when I'm stitching a hexagon flower together, I always start with the central one and the one above it. That's just my way. It doesn't actually make any difference whatsoever, but I take them, put them right sides together, and I just try and get my needle right through those corner parts. And the principle of the whole thing is exactly the same as stitching normal size shapes together. You just need to make your stitches smaller, and it's just that little bit more fiddly, but we've got less stitches to do, so hopefully that really makes a difference and just makes it quite quick to do. The beauty of using the hexiform for this is that we don't need to remove it like we would if we were using paper. Right, I'm at the end now, so I'm just going to loop it through to lock, and then I'll open it up and see. Now my thread is coming out here, so I'm going to take my next hexagon, put it here, and I'm going to put them right sides together again, and I'm going to stitch up this time. So lining up those corners again, keep everything nice and straight. Now when I get to this top corner, I do another locking knot, but I open it out, and then the next seam I want to join are these two. So I'm just going to carry my thread down. It's only going down 1/4 of an inch. So I then rearrange the shapes to line these seams up, and then just go really into that corner there. And then the thread just lays across the top, and it doesn't cause any problems. And you won't see it because of the hexiform as well. Now I've gone in a bit deep there. You just need to try and make the stitches as close to the outer edge, as possible. Just going through that fold. And get to the corner again and pass it off. Now I'm not going to cut the thread, I'm going to carry on. So when I open it out, you can see this is how far I've got. So my next hexagon is going to be this one, and I'm going to continue in the same way. Stitch up, carry the thread back, stitch across. So I'm going to carry on with that, and I'll see you back here when the flower is complete. So now the flower is finished, I still have the thread attached, and that's so I can stitch it in place, because now I'm going to position it in the centre of my circle. I'm using some linen for this, it's hand-dyed linen. I'll leave a link to that below as well. It's by a lovely small business called The Beautiful Stitch. And I'm just going to use the Sewline glue pen to glue the little flower in place. I find the glue pen ideal for this. Just put it in the centre. Just wait for it to dry. Of course, the clover applique pins are brilliant for this as well because they're so small, but that's just enough to hold it. And then I'm just going to do very small stitches just to secure the flower to my backing fabric, and of course I need my thimble. Cannot do any kind of applique without this thimble. I just use it day in and day out at the moment. It's yeah, it's very, very special to me. So I'm just going around the perimeter of the hexagon flower, just right at the edges, making tiny stitches to secure it to the backing fabric. So for the next pincushion, the final design, I'm going to use this Kanzashi flower maker made by Clover. I'm going to make some petals using it. This is the one that is in the large size. You can get them in other sizes as well, but this is the large one. They're really easy to use. They come with full instructions inside. I sell them on my website. I'll leave a link to that below, but if you search for them, you'll find them available near where you live as well. So all you need are scraps that are 3 3/4 inches square to make the petals using the large size. And it's really easy. So all you need to do is place a piece of fabric onto the tool, I'll call it the tool, and fold it in half, just making sure your fabric is nice and flat and there aren't any wrinkles when you do it. And then you just follow the numbers where you start, where it says start, and you stitch following the numbers. Let me show you. So in the instructions it tells you to use a long length of thread and add lots more on, but what I'm doing is I'm just doing each petal individually and then I'm just stitching them where I want them to be positioned on the underside of my pincushion, which I just made in exactly the same way as previously in this video. I just want to tweak the petals to get them how I want them to look and then stitch it in place. And I'm just going to make as many as it takes to go all the way around the edge. It can be a bit tricky to go through the layers as you're sewing them on, but you just want to tack them in place because the whole thing's going to be glued anyway. So I'm really pleased with how these came out. I think they're going to look really sweet on the table during my workshops for people to use, just to park your needle. I love how this one's like a little plant pot. It's so cute. Definitely want to make some more of these. I'm going to have to go and get some more egg cups because they're really lovely. You don't have to use egg cups. You could use anything really that has an opening like a jug or a cup, but make your circle double the width of your opening of whatever thing you're using. So these egg cups measure 2 inches across, so I made a 4-inch circle for them. It worked out just right. So I hope you like this idea and that you're going to make some for presents maybe this Christmas, or even to sell at a craft fair. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.